Hey guys, I'm Bria Morris. I'm a certified health and wellness coach, and today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a delicious goat cheese and asparagus frittata. This is a quick and easy recipe that you can use, that you can cook the day before or even on a Sunday and eat it throughout the week. Or if you're like me, I'm cooking it on a Saturday so we can have our shakes in the morning for breakfast as we're out the door for church. And when we get home, I have a delicious, healthy, clean eating meal ready that I can pop with a spring mix salad, and we have a great lunch. So the items you're going to need are 5 eggs, a red onion, 1 to 2 cloves of garlic. Depending if it's a really large clove of garlic, you may just want to use 1. Some small cherry tomatoes, some baby bell mushrooms, goat cheese. If you can't find a really good goat cheese, you can also use fresh grated Parmesan, and of course asparagus. Now I have my asparagus like this, not just to be pretty, even though it is. When you buy asparagus at the grocery store, a lot of times they're not packed with water at the bottom, and that's really important for asparagus to stay crisp and firm. So what you want to do is when you first buy it, you want to remove the bottom rubber band, and you want to pop it. Wherever it pops is where you want to cut the whole bunch. So wherever it pops, cut the whole bunch, and then you want to put some water in the bottom of just a small glass and stick all of your asparagus in it and keep it in the refrigerator. This will revive asparagus that's a little bit limp that you got at the store, and it also keeps it really fresh and crisp for probably 4 times longer than if you just stuck it in your refrigerator. So it gives it a really great crisp taste. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slice all the baby bell mushrooms really thin, and I'm going to crush my garlic, and I'm going to slice and dice about 1/4 of this red onion, and I'm just going to halve my cherry tomatoes, and I'm going to cut my asparagus into about 1/2 inch to 1 inch pieces, and I'm going to keep about 5 to 7 of them just to make it pretty at the end. So I'm going to do that, and then I will meet you at the stove. Okay guys, I've got my red onion along with my oregano and my garlic getting translucent in my pan. I added about 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and I'm going to add about 1 more tablespoon because it looked like it needed just a bit more. One of the ingredients that I forgot to mention that you also want to use in this is goat cheese. Now if you can't find goat cheese, or you can't find a good quality goat cheese, you could use Fontina cheese. You could also use fresh grated Parmesan cheese. Either one of those would work. So now that this has gotten translucent, I'm going to add my mushrooms. Now, I talked about this in one of my other recipes as well. When you add mushrooms to something, do not salt anything if you're adding mushrooms. Add your mushrooms first and let them cook until they're a nice, pretty golden brown. Because if you add any kind of salt to them, they're going to get that spongy taste that a lot of people don't like. But it'll truly make a difference if you wait to add the salt. So I'm going to let these cook until they turn to a beautiful golden brown. And then I'll add my salt and pepper along with the cherry tomatoes and asparagus. Okay guys, I've got my mushrooms completely cooked. This is what they're going to look like. See how pretty and golden brown that is? That's going to be delicious. So the next thing we're going to do, is not add almond butter. The next thing I'm going to do is add my asparagus because it needs to cook a little longer than the cherry tomatoes. So we're going to add in, some are trying to pop in there with the asparagus. So I'm going to add all of my asparagus here, and I'm going to let it saute for about 2 minutes. Just a couple more. Just going to stir it around. I'm going to show you how delicious this looks. Okay, now you can add your salt. Be conscious of how much salt you're using. You always want to use more herbs and more peppers than salt. Now while this is cooking on about medium-low, right back in there, I'm going to break open all my eggs. So we're going to do about 5 eggs. You could do more or less depending on the size of your family. For the amount of vegetables that I typically use in something, I don't usually have a lot of room. I try to use as many vegetables as I possibly can. My kids love frittatas. I love them. My husband likes them as long as I don't put milk in them and make the eggs fluffy and spongy. He loves them. He doesn't like a spongy egg, so if you don't like your eggs spongy either, like they would be in a casserole or something like that, you can always just use the egg, not add any milk or water, anything like that. So I'm just going to mix up my eggs. Just going to whisk them. Now if you give them a really good whisk, it'll incorporate some air in them, so that way you don't even need anything to make them fluff up, just a little. Now I'm also going to do just a little bit of salt and pepper in my eggs. And we've already got the delicious oregano cooking in here. This smells so good. Okay, we've got that ready. Just going to mix this around and let this saute for about another minute before I add the red onions. Let me give you a shot of this here. See how my mushrooms are beautiful and brown, not spongy and limp. So this is how you want this to look here. You're just going to keep moving it around. And then I'm going to add my cherry tomatoes in just a sec. All right, my asparagus has been cooking for about 2 to 3 minutes. So now we're going to add in our cherry tomato halves. Oh, this looks so good. Let me show you here. So colorful, full of vitamins. Now this recipe is going to be acceptable on phase 1 of my program if you don't use the cheese or only use a very small amount of the cheese, or phase 2 of my program if you use a little more cheese. You just want to be conscious of how much cheese that you're using. Now I'm using a goat cheese. I'm going to go ahead and get that out here. This is how the goat cheese is going to look. Now it does crumble pretty easily, as you can see. Making a mess here. It does crumble easily. It's a really soft cheese. So what we're going to do is we're going to use that on the top. We're just going to let this cook for about 2 minutes. And then we're going to add the rest of our asparagus spears, our eggs, and our goat cheese. This is going to be so good. Okay, as you can see, our tomatoes just have a really nice blister on them. That's how you want them to look. Just a really pretty blister here. Our asparagus is softened. Let's put this right here. Okay, now we're going to add the eggs that we whisked earlier. Just going to level that out a little. And we're just going to pour them evenly over the top. And I'm going to show you what this looks like in just 1 second. Now, like I was saying earlier about this being on phase 1 and phase 2 of the program, if you're using the goat cheese, it's perfectly acceptable on phase 2. But if you want to make this completely acceptable on phase 1 of the program, you would just use a light amount of ricotta cheese. That is on our program in phase 1 for your first 10 days. And then of course, as you know, when you get to phase 2, which is days 11 through 30, then you can incorporate a little more of an elaborate eating plan. Now I'm just crumbling this all over the top here because I love the velvety taste of goat cheese, but you could absolutely use the other. Let me rinse my hands real quick. Okay, now the asparagus spears that we reserved, I'm going to put over the top. Now I'm making this on a Saturday afternoon. So tomorrow, when we get done with church, we can come home and lunch is already ready. I'll do this along with a beautiful salad, and we will have lunch ready. Okay, almost got this done here. And I'm going to show you how it looks. Just want it to be pretty. Always. And one more. Just got it beautifully fanned here. 1 second. Okay. Now we have a beautiful starburst of asparagus over the top. You can see how it's starting to pull away from the edges. I have my oven preheated on 375 degrees. I'm going to pop it in just until the eggs are done, and then I'll show you how it looks. Okay, guys, our frittata has been cooking for about 10 to 15 minutes on 375 degrees. It is finally completely done. What I'm going to attempt to do here is get it out of the cast iron skillet and onto, or into rather, I can't believe that just happened. Okay, now I've got it where I can stick it in my fridge and have it for after church tomorrow. We have a quick and easy pop in the oven frittata for lunch. I don't have to cook. I'm going to garnish it with a little mint just to make it pretty and show you how it looks. I'm so excited. Isn't that beautiful? Got our goat cheese, our asparagus, our mushroom, our cherry tomatoes. It's going to be so good tomorrow. I hope y'all enjoy this recipe. Visit my website, briamorris.com. I hope y'all have a great weekend.